Hey there friends, it's Kodiak here and welcome to a very important Biomutant survival guide video. If you're on the hunt for information and you don't feel like waiting through 10 minutes of BS before you get to a point, well, you have come to the right place. Now, after 60 hours, I can say that I have figured out pretty much everything there is to know about the crafting system within the game. And that is the topic of today's video, Crafting 101, everything that you need to know. And I know a lot of YouTubers say that, everything that you need to know, but after dozens of hours with this game ahead of launch, I honestly feel like I know as much as I possibly could about this system, the ins, the outs, the intricacies. And as you can see here, my character's pretty decked out. Solid armor, solid melee weapon, solid ranged weapon, of course, max resistances across the board. And how did we get to this point? Well, lots of hours of dedication put into this game. Had a great time with the crafting system, and now it's time to break it down for all of you who may be new to the game. Now, the first thing you have to know is that you have various slots here. We've got a main hand slot, we've got an offhand slot, we've got a leg slot, a torso, we've got a right shoulder, left shoulder, we've got a headpiece, we've got a face piece, and of course, we've got our back piece. Now, if we go over to the crafting menu, looks a little bit different. We can only craft off of certain nodes for the character, and as you can see, we've got pretty much everything here except for the back and the face piece. Now, you can take any piece here. We're going to start with the main hand. We're going to start with a melee weapon. Now, I do have some melee weapons that are already built, all of my ultimate weapons. Check out the channel later for more videos on these ultimate weapons, which you can find throughout the world. But we're going to basically start from scratch. We're going to create a new melee weapon. And you guys may have heard some of this information before from other videos, hopefully ours, but it all starts with a base piece here. Now, we've got three really important base types of weapons. We've got one-handed slash weapons, we've got two-handed slash weapons, and we've got two-handed crush weapons. So this basically boils down to, do you want a one-handed sword, two-handed sword, or a club, two-handed mace? So we're going to build whatever we want here. Let's start with a two-handed slash weapon. Now, as you can see, I have a number of different base pieces here. These are all the base element of the build. So as you can see, if I scroll through these here, we've got a bang blade, we've got a giga blade. Now, this is the first really interesting one. This is a legendary base piece. It also is imbued with cold. So we've got a cold effect here. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll also notice it has a perk, bump, knock smaller enemies to the ground when hit. These are really important. These can completely change your gameplay. So as you're exploring the world, as you're picking up items, you want to be on the lookout for items with perks, specifically these base pieces, because they're the only ones that are going to have the perks. Now, we can keep scrolling down here. We've got a moo blade. It's also got bump. We've got double saw that's got nothing. Another giga blade. This one's got prime. This weapon increases your armor score by 2% for every 10 units of vitality. We can keep moving down here. And as you can see, everything's a little different. Another giga blade, but this one's got riposte. After being hit by an enemy attack, the next hit inflicted with this weapon does double damage. So at this point, you need to figure out, okay, what sort of item am I going to want to build my entire piece of gear off of? So this one looks pretty interesting. This is a legendary monument club. It is an electric imbued item. It's got a riposte. It's decent. So we're going to pick this one. Now, when you pick an item, you're going to notice that you do have a crafting cost here at the bottom of your screen. So in this instance, we've got a few different things that we have to talk about. We've got metal or clink, we've got wood, we've got plastic, rubber, and e-waste. So at this point, we're going to be spending 5 clink, 1 plastic, 3 rubber, and 4 e-waste on this weapon at this point. Now, as you can see, when we're crafting, we have to put other things on this weapon. So we have a handle slot and we've got an add-on slot. So first, let's check out the handles. Now, as you can see here, same type of system. We've got common, uncommon, legendary, all sorts of handles here. And as you can see, I've got a number of different handles here. And as we scroll through these, you can see the quality, the rarity, all of that of the weapon that we're creating changes. And that impacts the stats on the right-hand side of the screen. So as we scroll through, notice how the damage changes, the attack speed, the armor piercing. Nothing else really changes substantially. You're not going to get any new gameplay implications by changing something like the handle, but you will notice that the weapon itself gets better. Now, this is probably one of the better handles that I have, the Ancient Ornabar. And as you can see, that significantly amps up the damage and the armor pierce. Now, you have to ask yourself, what are you going for? Do you want more attack speed? Do you want more armor pierce? Do you want more crit? That's what you have to look for here. I can scroll through and I can see that some things increase my armor pierce, some things increase my attack speed. I'm just looking for the right handle for my situation. So this one, again, Ancient Iron Bar, that one's really good, increases my damage by quite a bit. a lot of armor pierce here, and I've got a lot of handles at this point. This is an ultimate handle. The Ring Dinger, as you can see, again, gives me just crit and some damage. Nothing changes in the armor pierce and attack speed. So you have to make the decision what you want to do. Now we're going to pick the Ancient Iron Bar here, and as you can see, crafting cost goes up. So this is the entire cost of the crafting for this item. Now we do have an add-on slot as well. This allows us to basically strap on something sharp and pointy, do a little bit more damage. As you can see, a lot of armor pierce by adding on an add-on. So let's go with the Trim Scissors here. This is another ultimate that I've picked up. And then boom, we've got a great melee weapon. It's got one add-on. It's a heavyweight class, attack speed, armor pierce, critical chance, all decent across the board. And of course, we've got that electric imbued item. Now, we do have to look at the crafting cost here. Significantly higher than when we started, which was at 0. So now we've got 13 clink, 8 wood, 8 plastic, 13 rubber, and 14 e-waste. A pretty expensive weapon, but as you can see, we've got plenty of materials. And that's exactly what you would do if you want to create a melee weapon. So this is a badass melee weapon. It's a strong two-handed slash weapon. All right, so say melee weapons aren't your speed. You want to do something in the range category. You want to see how that works. Well, lucky for you, you can flip on over to the range tab here, and you can craft yourself a ranged weapon. Again, we've got a couple ultimate items here. Keep an eye out on the channel. We will have full breakdowns of where to find all of these ultimate weapons. But hey, let's create one ourselves. Same way we did with the melee weapons. We're going to create a new ranged, and it all starts with a base. So we've got 4 categories here. We've got guns, we've got rifles, we've got shotguns, and we've got automatic rifles. So as you can see, it all starts with a base. So we've got a couple bases here for the automatic rifles. We've got full pulse. This does have a radioactive element to it. We've got a drawn out perk. Every other shot fired will reload a bullet. Really cool perks on the ranged weapons. I just want to throw that out there. Dynamo increases the damage by 10% for every 4 meters the projectile travels. So if you want to build yourself a more sniper-centric weapon, that's how you would do it. Let's go to the shotguns. Let's see if we can find a cool perk here. Sling. Each shot increases the damage by 5% and spread by 2 degrees. This effect is reset when the magazine is emptied. So a lot of perks that you have to consider specifically with these ranged weapons. There are so many good ones out here to look out for. So when you're out there in the world and you find something like Precise, check this one out. Reduces the bullet spread to 0 degrees. That means it is deadly accurate, and maybe that's the perfect weapon for you. That's great for a sniper. So let's build off of this one, shall we? It's a rare component. It's got a cold effect to it, and we've got that awesome Precise perk. Now, as you can see here, we've got a number of different points. Now, this is not as expansive as some of the other ranged weapons in the game, but that's okay. So first things first, let's put a muzzle on this bad boy. As you can see, things are going to change just like it did with the melee weapons. We've got our armor pierce, fire rate, accuracy, range, crit chance, and of course, the damage. It really comes down to what type of gun you want to build. So we'll pick this ultimate one here. Gives us a lot of damage and a lot of extra stats, but we're not done quite yet. We've also got to pick a magazine. Of course, this is going to extend how many bullets you have to fire. And as you can see, as we scroll through, we've got a lot of changes happening. So let's go with a massive magazine here. Let's go with this one. That gives us 21 additional bullets. Absolutely crazy. You can see it there. It looks ridiculous. Let's go with a top mod next. This is your scope. And I just want to point out, the scope really doesn't matter. You can't actually scope in during Biomutant. It's not a thing. You're always going to be in that third-person mode, but that shouldn't stop us from having a good time with these. I've got some absolutely ridiculous ones like the Bleep Bleep. The Glow Box looks pretty ridiculous. The X-Ray Scope looks pretty awesome. Let's go with that one. Again, you can make it any way you want because there's something else we're going to talk about in just a little bit here that will basically make any weapon work perfectly fine. So finally, let's put a grip on this bad boy. We've got the Fripp, we've got the Zorb. I mean, honestly, the sky's the limit, and they all look so fantastical, so perfect for Biomutant here. And let's just pick one randomly here, the Spix. So this is our weapon of choice right now, and once we put the grip on there, you'll notice we get to put a stock on here as well. Now, everything is increasing all of the stats as we're building it in real time, but just like the melee weapon, as soon as we complete our weapon build, we have to look at the crafting cost. Nothing is crafted until you actually hit the craft button here, and I will show you guys that in real time. Boom, there is our brand new weapon. Now, once you build the weapon, you can dismantle it if you want to scrap some of these parts. That is an option for you. You're going to get back everything that you put into the weapon, which is great. So I'll show you guys that too. Look at that. You're getting everything back, turning it back into components. You are going to lose some of the crafting costs, of course, but you do actually get all of these back. So unless you sell these things, you can always get back the components to build it onto different weapons. Now, one of the cool things about this game is that you can craft off of the ultimate weapons as well. So say you find an ultimate weapon in the world and you want to add on to that. Well, you can do that. A couple channels had already been saying that you can't do that. That is not the case. You can continue to add on to these ultimate weapons. For instance, I'll put a chainsaw on there, and maybe I want to change out the handle. That handle is actually an ultimate handle. So you can make some slight adjustments to the ultimate weapons if you want to. Of course, it will cost crafting components. You can't completely strip it down, but it does give you the option to make some changes as necessary. Now, the same thing can be said for the ranged weapons. If we go here and look at one of the ultimate weapons, you can continue to add on to the ultimate weapons in the game. We can just change components out. We can add things. We can even change the base type if we really want to. Change the grip. We can change the stock or add a stock. And we're pretty much in the money. So everything about Biomutant's crafting is flexible. It's workable. It's changeable. And that's what makes it so fantastic. So say you want to make an ultimate ranged weapon yourself, you can do that. Say you want to make an ultimate melee weapon, well, you can do that too. But there's one more component to crafting within the game that I think everybody needs to know about. So the final piece to the crafting puzzle can pretty much happen anywhere in the game if you know where to look. Now I'm at some random town in the game called Miaf, and as you can see, I'm standing right outside this blimp. Now this is critical if you're into crafting. You may have missed it, totally fine, but up here is usually two workbenches. We've got a weapons workbench and we've got an armor workbench. Now, these are different from crafting in the sense that you can use these to upgrade your weapons and armor. So we're just going to pick some random anything here. Let's pick the Skate Curve Plunge. Okay, so we've got a decent weapon here, 40 rarity, quality of a Rick Rack 3, a BIP 4 material. Okay, not bad. Now we can improve the quality and the materials right here from this workbench. So as you can see, there's a crafting cost associated with this. You even see at the bottom what we're going to be increasing to. So let's do a quick quality increase. Do we want to spend the resources? Yes, we do. Simple enough. We get a quality boost. Now, this is what you're going to want to do if you want to take your weapons and armor to that next level. If you really want to get them to the status of ultimate weapon all through the crafting system, you can do that by upgrading your gear. Now, you can do the same thing over here at the armor workbench. Applies the exact same logic. Pick any item you have here. As you can see, I have got a lot of armor. Just pick one. Again, quality improvement. You see the material cost at the bottom here. You can also do the same thing with the material quality. Let's improve the material this time. We're going to, yes, of course, spend the resources, and then boom, we get a material boost. Now, it's basically telling you what you're going to get down here at the bottom. So we basically got some more armor and a little bit of a bump. Now, again, this is all about making the best gear for your character. If you did not know this, Biomutant's enemies do scale. They will never be underpowered. So you're going to have to be crafting the entire time you're playing. And honestly, it's one of the most fun components of Biomutant. The same thing can be said for the armor side of things. I know we talked a lot about the weapons, but the armor side of things is exactly the same. You can pick an item here, you can go into it. Not a lot of changes in the armor as compared to the weapons, but you can add on some stuff. It does increase your armor for the most part. You basically need to look at your health, key energy, and energy regen. Depending on what you pick, you're going to see wildly different stats. So if you're looking for a particular build that focuses on energy regen or possibly health, basically you just need to know each of the armor pieces will wildly change those stats. It's not necessarily just about the armor, it's about the stats associated with it. And once you have your pieces of gear, you will see kind of the total snapshot on the right side of your screen of all of the different statistics that the gear combined grant you as a player. So a lot of things to keep in the back of your head. Now, there is one final piece to the puzzle, and that is outfits. There are 5 loadouts or outfit slots within the game. You can't change these super quick on the fly, but you can change them fast enough that it's really not a nuisance. You get 5 slots. Like I said, basically you pick a slot, you build out your character, and you get the stats and all of the benefits associated with that build. As you can see here, I built out specific sets for resistances and melee damage or range damage. It really comes down to what type of character you want to build. And again, you get 5 slots, 5 chances to build the type of character that you want. You can change these by quickly going into the menu, flop into a different number, and then you're ready to roll. There's a lot to consider, and if you're in a position where you don't have all of the materials required to craft, create the gear that you want, create the outfits that you want, go through all of your inventory spots, make sure you're dismantling and scrapping any of the gear that could give you resources. As you're looking through here, you'll notice some things give you resources, like this one is going to give us 4 plastic. Definitely want to get rid of those because at the moment we're in our miscellaneous tab. Not a lot of use for this stuff. So yes, we're going to scrap all of this, get all of the materials required here. A lot of stuff to go through. And this is something that I highly recommend you do when you find a vendor. Go through, look and see if they have anything in their miscellaneous tab that's going to give you resources to scrap. Of course, there are also totems in the world. Keep an eye out for them. There's usually one within eyeshot at any point in time. Those are going to give you anywhere from 1 to, I believe I've gotten up to 6 of any particular resource. You can scrap old weapons. There's so many different ways to get materials. It should really never be a factor. Hopefully this has answered all of your questions about crafting within the game. If you guys do have more questions about the crafting system within Biomutant, please do let us know in the comment section below. This has turned into a extremely long video, but hopefully it was jam-packed with information. You got to see the crafting system in action. We didn't skip any of the details, and hopefully you guys find that valuable. If you do like our channel and you want more Biomutant content in your feeds, you know what to do. Hit that thumbs up and of course subscribe to the channel. We have tons of Biomutant content planned for the days and weeks ahead, so we would love your support and becoming part of the legacy. If you do like our channel and you want to help even more, you can now join us on YouTube memberships. For the cost of a cup of coffee, you are helping evolve the channel and take our community to that next level. Check out the join button below to learn more. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching and play on.